So further on from the trio playing that you can see on my channel, please do subscribe. You can see lots of other things on my channel and forthcoming videos. Soloing, when you're in a trio, you've got to be a bit careful with this, because when you play a solo, there's no chords anymore if the bass player is just playing a single line. So you've got to try and keep the harmony going during your solo that actually makes the listener get what's not there. You know, in the case of this, so we've got Sex Machine by James Brown. If I just stick the full part there, there we go. So we've got this at the moment. Now it's easy enough to just play a solo over that because you've got the chords. So something. Not sure why this always defaults to having a phaser pedal, but I'm just going to take that away. There we go. So I've got some sort of overdriven sound with a bit of echo. That's fine. So if I was to play a solo over this, it makes sense just to play whatever you want to play over those chords. Now when you're playing a solo, don't blow all your riffs at the beginning. Save them up for later. So you could just start off with something fairly sort of tame. So at the beginning, there's some phrasing there. You know, you're speaking through the instrument, and later on you can sort of make a little bit more of a busy scene there. Now, if I was going to do this solo again, I'm just going to delete that. I'm also going to delete the guitar, or rather mute the guitar that's there. I'm using iOS 11 GarageBand here to practice with, and it's a fantastic bit of kit for not only writing, but you can do practice with this. The Drummer app is very, very good, and you can get most things out of it, or you can program it and do more specific things like the drum rhythm to this. So this time I'm going to record again a guitar solo. But this time I'm going to put more harmony in, because we've like that. So I'm going to put something that hopefully will tie up with that bass line. So you could start with a held chord. That sets the scene pretty well. Constantly harking to that E flat chord and the seventh. So you've got that seventh note, and then you've got your 9 there. That's an E flat 9 chord with just that. See, that's clever in itself. You see that original part, because it's just making more of the harmony out of a single note in that bar. So it's usually E flat 9. But then you stick the 13th on top. And you can can do various things like that that just help your solo out a bit. So once again, there's some phrasing there. By the end, now another thing that is tricky in a trio situation is to play a solo that it really has to have some sort of rhythmic impetus. It's a bit different if you've got a keyboard player or if you've got lots and lots of other musicians on stage. You can sort of play free time. But actually, it doesn't really cut it when you're playing along with a bass player and a drummer who are trying to keep that beat. So if I delete that again, go back to the beginning. It says nothing apart from here's some riffs that I've learnt, and I'm just going to blow them all over this tune where the drummer and the bass player are really trying to lock in. There's this temptation to sort of prove yourself with your riffs and prove what you can do and and actually it doesn't mean a huge amount if it doesn't go with what's there. So really when you're playing a solo, you should obviously think of new things to do, think of things, push the boat out a bit, I don't know, something like this. Whilst maintaining that rhythmic integrity of the drums and the bass before, because actually on that take it wasn't actually there very nicely at all. I was rushing it because I was kind of thinking, well, what am I going to do? And my ears had stopped working with that drums and the bass. So I've tried a few different things of those thirds, and then trying to keep the note of the chord there, and then some octaves. It's just a variety of things there. Of course, you have to structure it. Playing a solo is only good really if it just develops. Could be your first line and could be your last, with other things in between. With some sort of triplets. Over. Again, that was rhythmically very questionable indeed. So something like that tune, you've just got to think about what you're going to do. You've got to think about how your guitar playing is going to be different from somebody else's, not better. It's got to be different from somebody else's playing. So you don't want to sound like a particular person. There's no point. You want to sound like you. Of course, we all have influences. The fact that we've had this system drummed into us from day one is obviously going to have some sort of impact. But try different things, but maintaining that rhythmic precision with your drummer and your bass player.